2011 it really happened. So IBM invited the real Jeopardy show to the Ibm Tj Watson Center, which is located in the White Plains. So this one shows the real game.
Four-letter word for the iron fitting on the hoof of a horse or a card dealing box in a casino. Watson, what is chip? You are right. We actually took the lead. We were ahead of them, but then we started getting some questions wrong.
The question is not released before the game, and it's just like the other the contenders. They are competing who will be answer first.
That puts you into a tie for the lead with Brad. A lot of people think because Watson held his own and was doing pretty well, but I wanted to win. Too close for comfort. And you're in third place. That means you go first in Double Jeopardy.
The Double Jeopardy round of the first game I thought was phenomenal.
Watson on a tear. Watson, who is Franz Liszt? You are right. What is violin? Good. Who is the church lady? Yes. Watson, what is narcolepsy? You are right. And with that,
I do know the right-hand side, right guy, but left guy is the most popular for the Jeopardy game, the most money. He won the most money in the Jeopardy history. I think the longest winner.
Think of as number of hops the answer. So you have something missing in there that Jeopardy wants you to think of.
here is the clue. Its largest airport is named for a World War II hero. Its second largest for a World War II battle.
To a human, I think that's a very hard question to get wrong. And I'm used to seeing all three players nail very easy questions, so I get it right, and Brad gets it right. Watson only gets it wrong when he names a city that's not a U.S. city.
What is Toronto? A lot of question marks. Now people look at that and say, wait a second, Toronto isn't even a U.S. city. Watson's not dealing with structured databases. It's trying to understand language. There are lots of cities in the United States named Toronto. The actual city in Canada also has a baseball team in the American League. Very often there are categories in Jeopardy, but the answers to the questions are not that type of thing that's named in the category. The Watson system knows that and says, yes, U.S. city might be part of answering this question, but there are other elements in this clue that must be considered.
Most importantly, the confidence for that answer was very low. It's definitely not a question that Watson's plugged in for it and had the choice.
The illusion is that this computer is doing the same thing that a regular Jeopardy player would do. It's not. It's doing something sort of different that looks the same on the surface. Every so often you see that.
And the wager, how much are you going to lose? Oh, you sneak. $947. After the first game, we have a pretty good commanding lead, but we've seen enough Jeopardy to know that this is not a lockout. Welcome to the deciding game in the IBM Challenge here on Jeopardy. The second game was a whole other story.
We struggled some at the beginning.
Actress who direct for 1,000.
A Bronx Tale. Brad,
Who is Robert De Niro?
correct. That was an awful category because Watson got every single one right. It was just a little too slow. And
Denzel Washington.
you got Kenneth Brad were getting the answer in a second. Lucky 2, 3, and 4. Brad,
Who is Sylvester Stallone?
correct. Even with 2,900 chords, it took us 2.5 seconds or 3 seconds, and that just gives you a sense of how incredible the human brain is, how quickly you can understand category, what's being asked, boom, and get the answer. Who is Sean Penn, right?
Ken was doing very well, and the risk was Ken gets a daily double. That's big. Gets it right. He's going to be well ahead. And then with that kind of lead going to Final Jeopardy, if he bets enough, he could end up winning the match.
A camel is a horse designed by this. Hint.
What's a committee? Earlier settings for 2,000.
We gotta find that last daily double. We gotta find that last daily double.
I was terrified. And I mean, it was just intense because these guys were good. Again,
Where's the brain?
Rain, yes.
It was a crucial moment in the game. There was still a daily double on the board, and it was starting to become pretty clear that it was in the legal ease category. We'll turn on legal ease for 1,200.
This person is appointed by a test taker to carry out the directions and requests in his will. Watson,
What is executor?
right?
Same category, 1,600.
Answer. Daily double.
So in this semester, we are going to learn what kind of algorithm are used to make the Watson. So have you ever seen the Watson before? So you heard about the IBM Tj Watson Center. So IBM Tj Watson Center is one of the famous research lab in worldwide and the history of the computer science. Named by the Tj Watson, who is one of the famous researcher in IBM Center, which is located in the White Plain. It's just 30-minute driving distance from the LaGuardia, the airport, to the north. So it's not that far from here. It's 40 to 45 minutes the driving distance. Also, the IBM Tj Watson Center is famous for the database research. Right now, many of the IBM research part together in the center, and 4 years ago, so 2011, they made the using the IBM Power chip, Power PC, the CPU. They use the cluster system supercomputer that include all the information about including Wikipedia and Google data, any kind of almost all the encyclopedia they include. Then also they implement some algorithm to answer such a question. And sometimes Watson can answer very stupidly, like he classified in different way. So focus on the different category. So it doesn't use only one or two algorithm. Probably it uses a lot of algorithm to decide. It's kind of decision system, and finally select one of the correct answer. Then which is kind of the model of right now to show the IBM the research direction. They actually focus on a lot of the big data system that also include such IBM Tj IBM Watson type of machine that can solve many of the problems. To implement such a system, definitely we need the help of something knowledge system or knowledge discovery system. That is the main topic of this class throughout the semester. So in this class, we are going to discuss about how to handle, how to use the data to find the interesting topic or the interesting information, or sometimes it's called the knowledge. So that is the main topic of this course. Before that, I'd like to check your name. I'm not sure how often I can check your attendance, but if possible, I'd like to check your attendance. This is all the information. Probably some of you guys' name are not listed at the time. That you can add your name after during the break. I'm going to have the 5 to 10 minute break after 1 or 1.5 hours in between. Okay, Abdullah Ahmad and Ali El Essa and Khalid Alamgir, Hamud, Majid, and Z Chan, Rohit Lamesh, Parvi, Mohammed El Abid, and your name is only the last name. I need to extend. So, Udas Da Silva Jr. Your first name is
Saul Fernando.
Sao.
Saul Fernando.
Yu Feng Jiang. Priya Suresh. Josh. Sri Lakshmi. Menali.
Yes.
Okay. Many Kanta. Rasa. Many Kanta. Anchor.
Yes, sir.
Hwan-Min Lu, Jonathan Reimer, Nirajan Netu, Nirajan, Anki Kumar, Edna, Jiangliang Xiao, Sangita, Haritha, Surya, Spandana, Pradeep, Cheng Yang Wang, Peng Chang Yu, Z. Even though your name is not called, you can add your name here at the class. So first of all, thanks so much for your interest in the data mining. This is probably third or fourth time to offer the data mining course, but this time I slightly changed the curriculum. I'd like to add probably 1 day and 1.5 days of the mathematics. So because I realized that to understand the data mining algorithm, I believe that you had a hard time to study the mathematics during your high school and college undergraduate course, but sometimes I realized that some of the students do not have enough background in the mathematics, especially the statistics. I'm going to explain the very, very basic of the mathematics, something equation and theorem that are required to understand the data mining algorithm. Mostly they are focusing on the statistics, okay? Some case or the probability, something like that. So I add that part. Also, I'm going to a little bit shrink the lecture regarding to the data mining technique itself, and I'd like to add some part of the practical implementation of the data mining technique using the some available data sets such as the social media data, including Twitter or the Facebook. Also, I'd like to use the statistical data mining tool, which is called R programming. So, in addition to the traditional data mining tool, I'm going to use the WECA tool. That is just one of the data mining tool. But I'd like to use the first time, the R programming, which is popular in the statistics. But nowadays it's popularly used in the data analytics. So if you already took the big data system and the NoSQL database, so you probably understand such a importance of the data analytics. But this time in the data mining, we will use such a statistical data mining tool. It's just called R. If you have used the statistical tool like the SAS, or others, just like that. However, this is open source, it's free, and which is based on the which is good for this command line interface. If you are familiar with the script languages such as Perl or the PHP, it's quite easy, very, very easy to use. So you can easily implement your algorithm or idea using the R program with already built-in the package. So you can save a lot of time. Also, even though you do not have the background in programming, using R there's no problem. It's a very, very straightforward language, so you can easily get used to get familiar with that program. So finally, I'm thinking about one of the projects based on the R program. Okay. So this is my overall, and I already hand out. I also believe it or not, this is, it was very, very hard to manage the capacity of this class. So I try to keep the maximum 25 students. I know last week there are 3 more students who registered without my permission. So I even complained to the registrar office. The registrar office said it was went to the department chair. Anyway, so right now I have exactly 25 students, including in the last one. So I'm very sorry if I decline any extra registration. If I have even 25 is much bigger than I expect. Okay, I cannot take care of each and every student if I have more than 15 students. So for regarding to the project or whatever, the presentation, even I cannot. So I usually like the individual presentation regarding to your project. So, but 25 is definitely the maximum. So that was the reason I didn't give my signature for the extra registration. So please understand me. But this time, right now we have exactly 25 students. This might be okay, but still limited for the extra class activity, like the individual presentation or some research. So that will be good for each other. So if we can share such a project. But anyway, so this is the data mining. So 6 to 8, so it will be here. But if I design I don't finalize yet how to organize the exercise lab for the art programming. Probably I will have the 1 day might be enough because it's very straightforward. So 1 day might be enough, but just in case, so it will be 2 times. But 2 weeks is too much for me by considering the overall schedule. So pretty much I think the 1 or maximum 2 times of the exercise lab with the art. Otherwise, the other programming, so this course is not for general engineering students. It's for the computer science and engineering, which means I consider all of my students in this class has a background in computer science, which means that at least the programming language, the experience. So if you believe that you do not have the programming experience, it's totally your responsibility to catch up throughout the semester. Okay? So you need to work very, very hard to learn. I'm not going to teach any program language or the specific. Even R is new for me. So I'm not the expertise using the R or did I involve any real project using R? No, it's not even my first time. So I definitely work with you. So if you are coming from the other department like the technical management or the business school, I know there are few students. Is there any non-computer science? So one, there must be more. So you need to work hard to catch up such a thing. I pretty much give the information to those students, but majority is computer science and engineering, so which means you guys have the background in the computer and computer science. Okay. And I have GA, Mohammed, okay? Who can help throughout the semester, but mostly, so this is a 6, even though this is a 552, the course number, this is a research level course, so which means I believe that each of you can solve the problem. Like this is not an undergraduate course or this is not a core course, this is a kind of research level course, so I hope that you guys can handle the minor problem by yourself. But in case you have the problem, you can contact the GA or me. Okay? Anything else? Yeah. So if you want, you can. I'm going to update. So this one is a class website, but the class website is just an overview. It's a syllabus. So you can find this website through my website, but most of the information you can find from the Canvas. So is there any new student this semester? So which means you already know what is a Canvas. So we are going to use the Canvas you can find all the material or any information from the Canvas. Then Canvas, I'd like to show after introduce the syllabus. Okay. And regarding to the textbook, and I'm going to use this one, the data mining concept and technique, the authored by the Dr. Han. This is one of the most. There are a bunch of different data mining textbook in the market, but this is one of the not the best, one of the good textbook. You can easily understand. Okay, and the current edition is the 3rd edition, but I believe the 2nd edition also is possible. But I strongly suggest this one has the more advanced new topic. Even nowadays, there are more and more the new algorithms, the data mining techniques. So some of the new technology are added, even though I do not cover each and every algorithm in this semester, but for example, even my student, GA, he referred this textbook and he write the technical paper because this one has detailed information about the new technology, new data mining algorithm also. Okay? And in this semester, I'm thinking the 3 labs, 3 projects kind of. So even though I named it as the lab, so programming the assignment, programming the project. First one is using Weka. Okay, so Weka is the Java-based data mining tool, which means somebody already implement the data mining algorithm that we are going to discuss, like the association rule or decision tree, classification and clustering. So which means you don't have to implement such a thing, but most of the algorithm has the parameter values, something parameter that you can adjust or optimize. So you need to give something input data, then you need to optimize using by changing the parameter values. So you can test some data or the data mining algorithm using such a tool. So Weka is one of them. Okay. So I'd like to use the Weka to understand the data mining. So that is the first lab. Second lab is you are going to implement one of the popular and very well known the data mining algorithm using your own language. Sometimes in your research, during your research, so you should be able to implement your own algorithm with your own code. Okay, so for that algorithm, you are going to implement the k-means and some other variants of the k-means algorithm that we are going to learn. Probably the 5th or 6th the weeks, the middle or the end of the February, we will learn. After we learn that using your own program language, which means you can use Java, you can use C#, you can use the PHP, any language you can implement, because it doesn't require the very fancy, nice programming skill. Instead, whether you can implement such an algorithm with a program language. That is a major part of this project. Okay, we are not going to compete in terms of the programming skill. Instead, whether you can implement correctly such a data mining algorithm or not. Then the third one I don't decide yet is probably based on the R programming. Using R programming, it's a social media data mining. So we will use the input data from the social media data such as the Twitter or the Facebook or the Flickr. So I don't decide yet. Pretty much it will be Twitter because it's easy to get, and there are bunch of the idea to get the Twitter data. So using Twitter data, you will implement some the algorithm using R programming. It's very simple, so it's not very complicated. And also, in addition to the lab, so you guys need to submit the summary. It's a reading assignment. So there are 3 papers that you are going to read. All paper you can find, all the project description you can find from the Canvas. so which I'm going to introduce later. Okay, so each reading assignment, there is a, if you go to the last page, you can find, you can see the something reading assignment the template and the guideline for the reading assignment. After you read it, you can basically summarize with your own word. Okay, that doesn't mean you can copy and paste the first sentence of the abstract, first sentence of the introduction, first sentence of the chapter 1, section 2, not like that. So whether the goal of this reading assignment is you should increase your the ability to read the technical paper, and whether you can understand, then whether you can summarize such a technical paper with your own word. It's kind of training. Okay? So many of the students just try to copy and paste. So from time to time I'm going to use the Turnitin.com that can find the plagiarism. So if I can find any plagiarism issue from the reading assignment, it will automatically 0 point. Okay. And those then 1 or 2 times of the exercise lab regarding to the art programming, probably the A4. So those are the main activities throughout the semester. But usually I have the individual research on the data mining technique, but this time I don't decide yet. It can be the group by 3, then we can have the 8. Even 8 is too much, so I don't decide yet. So if once finalized, if possible, I'd like to assign the group project. Project means it's not implementation, but the research on the specific data, mining, the technique, or the new trend, or something like that, research on such a topic, and present. At the end of the semester, we can use the 1 day if possible, but I don't decide yet. Okay. Any questions? Okay, and this is the This is a Canvas page for data mining. I think this page may be different from your point of view. The student view is different, but basically you can go to the assignment and 5, mostly 5, so you can find the lecture note that I'm going to use here. Okay. Also, including the mess and project description. And this paper will be used for the second project. So you need to implement actually the algorithm, proposed algorithm in this paper for the second project. So I will explain the details. So when we cover the topic of that each project. And reading assignment, there are 3 papers that are relevant to the topic that we are going to cover at that time. And for the assignment, so you can submit your reading assignment and the project. Okay. And so also, I'm thinking the 2 exam, or the midterm exam during the midterm week and the final exam during the final exam week. So for the midterm is this time here during the midterm exam week, the Wednesday, but the final exam will be assigned by the registrar office, but pretty much the evening class is the same time and same location mostly. So but I will confirm on that time. So this is the overall schedule. So this week we will cover the introduction of the data mining, also as well as the data itself. Then next week I'd like to cover the review of the math used in the data mining. But I'm not sure whether one day is enough. Just in case if we need more time, I'd like to use another week a little bit, because the data pre-processing may not take the whole week. Okay? And then followed by the frequent, the mining frequent pattern, and the association group, okay? Then the clustering, then the classification. Okay? Then the last part will be the social media data mining, then using R programming, so we can do the third lab. So fine. Any question? What is the data mining? Do you think data mining is correct word, correct sentence? It should be mining data, right? But I don't know why it's called data mining. So most is a general word right now. It's supposed to be mining data. That makes sense, right? So mine is the verb, so it's the objective. So mining data, but it's called data mining. So, but anyway, so what is the data mining? So to understand the data mining, we need to understand a little bit about the data and two ways. Okay? So first, in terms of data, we can understand what is the data mining. So long time ago, so what is this? This is the third time today to draw this diagram. This is a computer. So we are dealing with the computer because we are in the computer science. If we are in the electrical engineering, so we are going to deal with the electrical device. So if we are in the mathematics, we will deal with the math, the number. But we are in computer science and computer engineering. So this is a computer that we are going to use. But it's a long time ago. It's not current. The new technology, the computer, high-end computer is old computer. Long time ago, computer does not have any network interface. It has only one single machine. Okay, inside, it put everything. It has a storage, it has input, and it has output device. So even in terms of data, we put all the data inside the computer. Okay, that is called centralized computer. It has everything. Okay, so for example, if you want to use this computer, so you can connect dummy device, dummy terminal. Dummy terminal is different from the monitor. Okay, it's nothing but dummy. It's connected, then type and everything, and connect. It's a dummy terminal. It's a centralized server. So for example, IBM mainframe. So, mainframe is one of the examples. The main problem of the centralized server, centralized system,
Point of failure.
Point of failure.
Single point
Single
failure.
point of failure. It's not flexible. So if we can support the 100 user, that's okay. But if 200 user, no way. Okay, that was the main problem. So we need to address such a problem. How? You can, with the thanks of what? Personal computing power. Personal computer is very powerful. Okay, so like the end of the 80 and beginning of the 90, so 1998, 1999. At the time, even I purchased my first computer in 1983. It was a long time, so 30 something years ago. It was very expensive, but much cheaper than such a mainframe. So it was a 16-bit computing. So IBM XT, IBM AT, Apple computer. So long time away, there was Apple computer also. So because of that, why don't we take out some of the job? Okay, like this is a display part. So why don't you take out? And some of the computing part, take out. So we have something, the database only. Database, then use the PC. It's not like the dummy terminal, it has a PC. It has a CPU, it has the memory, it has the all basic component of the computer. And also it's strong enough to be in charge of the only display and also something computing part. So at that time we can keep only the data or database in this side, then connect another computer. So if we can support 100, then it's okay. If we have the more user, we can connect more. Okay. Then how can we connect this one? Using network. At the time, network is like the internet and the network. The technology had been improved a lot. So using network, we can connect such a, this is called server. This is called client. So using client server. So sometimes it's called the CS environment, or sometimes it's called the two-tier environment. This is technology is still used. Computing environment is still used in our daily life. For example, web server. If you web server and web client, like this one. So if I connect to something website, it has a web server. My PC is the web client. Something like that. So this is a two-tier. Benefit, we can. Actually, this is called the downsizing. Why? Because server is a slim. Downsize. Because thanks with the help of such a client PC. So it's called sometimes downsizing. Problem? Still limited. Number of clients. It's much flexible than centralized, but still limited because, for example, when you connect from client to server, you need something computing resource in the server side, like the memory. When you connect, for example, 10 megabyte, you need. If you have the 100 user, you need 1 gigabyte of the memory. If you have 1,000 user, you need 10 gigabyte. It's linearly increased. You cannot increase the computing power of the server forever. No, you cannot do that. So to address that problem, how can we address that problem? We can put something in the middle. This is called middleware. Server, middleware, client. This is called three-tier system. What is the example of this one? It's a transaction server. Okay, that control, instead of the directly connect to the server, it connect request to the transaction server. Then between transaction server and the server, there are 1, 2, 3 dedicated line. How can it be possible? We have 1,000 user client, but using 3 server, we can support. How? Actually, even though we have the 1,000 user, at a certain time, at the moment, only few users, 2 or 3 clients are active. The others are idle, wait for the next time, at a certain time. So idea is that, so only active user can get the data from the server side, database server. So this is called the transaction server, or sometimes it's called the application server. Most of the web servers are application server. That is the reason, even though you have the few number of the web server, you can actually support millions of the requests, like the Google, okay, at the same time. So this is called the 3-tier. So because of that, we can make the bigger and bigger and bigger the database server. Not only one, we have another database. So finally we can have something, data warehouse. This is called the warehouse. So since from 1990, middle of the 1995, 1994, the company realized that we have the huge amount of the data. Then they called this is the data warehousing. And then they realized using such a, that include everything. Like for example, in case of the bank has a lot of transactions, like the checking the balance or withdraw the money and saving the some transfer the money between the account. There are a bunch of transactions, and also the just inquiry about the credit information, any transaction. You can have the transaction data. Sometimes before that we throw away such a transaction data. As long as we have the last correct balance, it's okay. However, after that, because the storage is not that expensive, we can keep all the transaction and all the information about this one. Then, is there anything we can do? Yes, we realize that by using such a all the transaction and all the log data, all the information, sometimes we can find very, very useful information. So at the time we used some OLAP or something, the data warehousing or CRM, customer relationship management. So use that, we can get some important information. However, that's not the only benefit of the such a data warehousing, but some of the people realize very, very important information. For example, in Walmart, this is one of the typical example of the data mining. So actually, how many customers, how many transactions, how many receipts are produced in Walmart? It's huge. The millions of a day, the millions of the transaction will be produced. They keep all the information. Then they realize that sometimes if a customer purchases the certain item A, they usually purchase item B also. Okay? This is the first example of such a practical data mining. The example. For example, if somebody purchased the beer, they purchase diaper. You know the diaper, it's for baby. So intuitively, might be no relationship, but when they check all the receipt, they realize that once the beer is purchased, then the customer would like to buy the diaper. Why? Because most of the people who pick up the beer is like 30 or 40 years old, and then usually they shop together with the wife, or then they have the baby. So what if they put this is the for beer section, and next is for baby? That's true. So if you go to the Walmart, they put together next to each other, the baby section and the liquor store, liquor section. So this is the typical example. So can you see such a data? Can you see such information as it is from the such a data? No, you cannot see it. Some of the very inside people can find that, but mostly not. But using very simple algorithm, you can find such a relationship. That is the data mining. So from here, so once you have such a data, then we can find some hidden information. Somebody said this is a knowledge, but it doesn't matter whether that is a real knowledge or not. Anyway, the useful information is usually hidden inside the data, not directly you can find from the data itself. Okay? So that is the history of the data mining. Also another aspect of the data mining is actually there is a AI, artificial intelligence, the subject in computer science. What is the AI?
Makes computer things as a human being. Makes a computer things like a human being.
Yes. For example, not for example. In my sense, the computer science, especially computer science, computer engineering also. What is the ultimate goal, finite goal of the computer? To make a human being. That's the goal. So think about the subject that you are learning in computer science and computer engineering. For example, network. Network is the kind of communication that mimics the human being. And